Hi guys, welcome to the Fight Edge channel. The WBA, WBO and IBF World Heavyweight Champion Anthony Joshua and the mandatory challenger for the WBO belt Alexander Usyk held a press conference in London, during which they held a battle of views for the first time on the eve of their fight. During this stare-down, the boxers looked into each other's eyes for a long time, after which Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn signaled to them that it was time to stop the duel of views. Then the champion and the challenger respectfully shook hands. Recall that the Anthony Joshua-Alexander Usyk fight will take place on September 25 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. At stake in this confrontation will be all three championship titles belonging to the Briton. The mandatory challenger for the WBO heavyweight title Alexander Usyk is confident that he and the WBA, WBO and IBF world champion Anthony Joshua will arrange a duel that will forever remain in history. Usyk told about his sparring sessions on the eve of the fight against Anthony Joshua. According to Usyk, who will fight with the current world champion Anthony Joshua in London, he is not worried about the opponent's advantage in size. The world champion in the WBA, IBF and WBO heavyweight versions of the British Anthony Joshua is sure that he does not need to knock out the Ukrainian Alexander Usyk to win. According to Anthony, he was preparing for the entire distance of the fight and is sure that he will be able to beat his opponent. Former absolute world champion in the first light middleweight Kostya Tszyu commented on the upcoming fight between Anthony Joshua and the undefeated Ukrainian challenger Alexander Usyk. Friends, before starting to watch this video, I would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel. If you really enjoy the content, then please subscribe to my channel and keep watching the videos. If you are subscribed, then you receive notifications about the release of new videos. You do not even have to look for anything personally. I really want to get 10,000 subscribers on my channel. I am trying very hard, absolutely every day, and I need your support. Your likes, comments, reposts to social networks. Thanks to everyone who subscribes to my channel. You are my support. Thank you so much. The mandatory challenger for the WBO heavyweight title Alexander Usyk is confident that he and the WBA, WBO and IBF world champion Anthony Joshua will arrange a duel that will forever remain in history. There is still a lot that can be done. I feel very good. I was really looking forward to this moment, this fight. I want to thank the team of Anthony, Eddie Hearn and my team for the fact that all this will take place on Saturday. All these battles that take place in the world live a big story. Anthony and I are taking another step towards a story that will be remembered later, talked about, watched on TV and read. This is all the story that we're doing with him, Alexander Usyk said at a press conference. Alexander Usyk spoke about his sparring sessions on the eve of the fight against Anthony Joshua. We had about 7 different sparring partners. Will the fight with the southpaw be a problem for Joshua? You should ask him that. I don't know. I know that it is difficult to find sparring partners similar to me, but I have one young guy who is very similar to me, and who will box on Saturday in our evening. This is a guy from my promotion company, Daniel Lapin, Usyk said. Undefeated Ukrainian heavyweight Alexander Usyk claims that working in the camp of the former hegemon of the Royal Division Vladimir Klitschko has become a valuable experience for him. This man has been beating the whole world for 11 years. I watched a lot of things. I was in his camp, even when I wasn't sparring, and then we sparred. Of course, you can learn a lot from such people, Usyk said. According to Usyk, who will fight with Anthony Joshua in London on September 25, he is not worried about the opponent's advantage in size. My whole life is a duel. I have constantly fought for every time in my life. I always thank the Lord God for leading me on the path I am following. The fact that these guys are much or not much bigger than me, well, maybe he will hit harder. I will need to defend better, Usyk said. The world champion in the WBA, WBO and IBF heavyweight versions of the British Anthony Joshua is sure that he does not need to knock out the Ukrainian Alexander Usyk to win. According to Anthony, he was preparing for the entire distance of the fight and is sure that he will be able to beat his opponent. You always strive to prepare for a 12-round fight, but you also try to make the fight shorter. In other words, to knock out an opponent. You always study the opponent, and during the training camp you will learn his weaknesses and strengths. Usyk has good endurance. Therefore, we worked not only on weight loss, but also spent a lot of rounds in sparring, as well as working on the back to increase endurance. We strengthened the boxing memory in the muscles so as not to feel tired when I hit. I'm sure I can hit Usyk. I have no doubt about it. I should have a little aggression, boxing skills and body movement. There can't be only one factor that will determine the outcome of the match. Obviously, I have an advantage. It's strength. It will use my strengths. But it is not for nothing that the fight is called a boxing match. I love these signs. I will demonstrate my boxing skills, but I will not complicate everything, Joshua said. Former absolute world champion in the first light middleweight Kostya Tszyu commented on the upcoming fight between Anthony Joshua and the undefeated Ukrainian challenger Alexander Usyk. According to the Russian famous veteran, in this confrontation, the rivals will have equal chances. At the same time, he stressed that he would support Usyk. I really want Usyk to win. It will be a tough fight for Alexander. Yes, Usyk is a unique boxer, but this is a slightly different level. I don't think that Usyk had someone in the competition who can hit so hard. Joshua is a strong boxer. The odds 50-50. And I really want Usyk to go down in history, Kostya Tszyu said. Former United World Heavyweight Champion Vladimir Klitschko shared his expectations for the upcoming fight between his ex-rival Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. The legendary veteran, who maintains good relations with both fighters, left the most natural message in which he said that he was looking forward to a mega fight between Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. An exciting confrontation between Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. I'm waiting for a war between the champions. This fight excites me very much, Vladimir Klitschko wrote on Twitter. Former world champion in 3 weight categories Vasily Lomachenko shared his thoughts about the upcoming fight of his friend Alexander Usyk against the owner of the WBA, WBO and IBF heavyweight titles Anthony Joshua. This is a very interesting fight. For me, this is a very historic fight. If you ask me about the result, I will answer that I don't know. These are 2 technical and powerful boxers, so I don't know. Anthony Joshua is a big heavyweight star, so Usyk wanted to fight him. Besides, he is a world champion in heavyweight. Alexander wants to combine the titles and remain the champion in this weight category. Will this fight end prematurely? No one knows. Maybe. This is boxing, that's why I love it. Of course, knockout is possible, but I don't know. You know what? They have a huge amateur experience. I think that the fight will go through all 12 rounds, but perhaps there will be a stop, said Lomachenko. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel.